My name's Rohaan.
My name's Buunshin. It's genuinely a really hard and confusing landscape to navigate. Someone to settle down as a full-time producer, but all I can say is we kind of have to sum it up, right? Because there's so many things you can do. But I feel like to sum it up is be envious of the lifestyle and not the life. Don't just set a goal, try to fixate on what that life looks like and try to get into that position. Because once you do, your head will be pointed in the right direction and you'll move yourself in the path of opportunities, as opposed to trying to force opportunities to work every single time, because it doesn't work like that. You need a lot of things to line up in order for your career to work. This is where you can, you said something very nice about the
Holy Trinity.
Yeah.
There's so many different paths as well. Like everything that Buunshin will say is valid because that's more in your experience.
Yeah.
And then through my experience, I have this sort of holy trinity, which is health, hobby, and income. And as long as I have, somewhat my health on lock, a hobby of some sort, which is climbing. I know yours is climbing as well.
Yeah.
It's just a space where you can not think about, let's say you have a day job, not think about that much or any stresses in life. Have that. So it's like a safe space. And then income, because fundamentally we need a roof over our head, we need to eat food. I've always found if I have that triangle somewhat intact, everything else falls in place. And like post-pandemic is when I went full-time music. So I've been full-time now for 3.5 years, something like that. And that was when I then was kind of had the health, hobby and income on lock just enough where I had like maybe half a year's worth of that, where I didn't need a day job. And I was like, okay, I've got this much time to really make sure this works.
Yeah.
So then that's where things, and I know this helps you a lot,
Yeah.
Patreon comes into play, because we both have a Patreon and that's literally sustained our lives as well as shows and all the other stuff that comes along. Yeah.
What I also definitely want to add to all the valuable points you've made is that what it all boils down to is that it all depends on what you desire. You can desire a million things, but I was lately checking out this podcast by Chris Williamson. He said something along the lines of, I'm going to badly paraphrase this.
You love that guy.
Well, it was Naval Ravikant, I think was his name. He said, desire is like a contract with yourself to be unhappy until you attain what you want. So the more that you want out of a career, the more unhappy you will be if you don't exactly attain that specific goal. So be very precise about what the goal is that you set for yourself. The more attainable, the higher the likelihood of you actually becoming very happy with how that comes to fruition in the real world, in the world with all of the real life factors that could, inhibit your success. But I feel like that's where, you can also desire less other things out of life.
Sorry.
I feel like you can also desire less other things in life, sacrifice things that other people might not be prepared to sacrifice in order to make more space for bigger goals. I feel like, I don't know how this experience is for you, but I feel like a lot of people that are quote unquote really successful are just really spearheaded in a specific aspect of their desire, and they are prepared to work really hard to specifically get that goal done and over with as soon as it pops up, and they also don't pay any time, money and attention to anything else, so that their chances at success are the highest, higher than mostly everyone else who is not prepared to make those same sacrifices.
Yeah, it's like luck is just really putting yourself in the right places.
Yeah.
To sort of, encourage.
It's
come your way.
Yeah, definitely.
Exactly.
Increasing your chances.
That's why
buying lottery tickets
Yeah.
is what it is. Like every move every move you make is a lottery ticket essentially.
Yeah.
Like, there's been loads of shit. I don't. Can we swear? I don't know. There's been loads of stuff. Like one example of buying lottery tickets I have was in the pandemic. because Twitter's been a very slow burner for me. I don't use the platform anymore, but when I did, I would just, whatever I'd say on Instagram or whatever, I'd immediately put on Twitter with the hopes that one day something might come of it. And then one day I get a DM from Ritesh, who owns a festival called Locust Festival. He then books, he sends me a picture of a beach and he's like, do you want to play here? And I'm like, well, this is clearly spam, but I was like, yes. And he's like, give me your management's email, gave him it. And then for the next 4 years, I ended up playing, I think 3 years I did Mexico and then 1 year I did Bali. All because one day he logged onto Twitter and saw my tweets and followed me from there. So it's like that was me categorically buying lottery tickets, hoping one day something would happen, and it did. I feel like for you and I, it's a little different.
Go first.
In terms of, yes, it's part of it, because it's just like Instagram I use as a website, so I want to keep my website up to date.
It's like a portfolio, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, definitely.
Showcasing your work.
100%. And everybody, whoever watches this, or all of us in this room, we all know TikTok and all that. We all know the downsides. So we don't. I feel like I don't really need to cover that.
Yeah.
But I feel a pressure because the upside of it is huge. When I nail it, and let's say the algorithm just enjoys what it is that I do, and I actually find the more authentic I make it, the more fulfilled I feel, the better it's received.
Yeah.
My most recent release is one of my most successful in a while, content-wise, and just the way it's been received and DJs playing it. Because I just loved every aspect of it. I felt very good in the process of it. So yeah, I do feel a pressure, but when I make it, when it becomes something that I love, it becomes extremely enjoyable. And the fruits of it are great. Like my goal is to get more than 100 likes on a post. And obviously this one got like a few thousand. But as long as my goal is more than 100 likes, as soon as I tick over 100, it's like, I can close the app.
Yeah.
That's it. I set my goal so low.
Yeah.
And it feels good.
I acknowledge music as a language. An inherent part of a language, I guess, is that it's meant for communication. So I've always found it strange when people say that music is just for their own self-indulgence. There's people who swear that, what happens inside music happens in the studio and you shouldn't worry about what happens out there. And I actually don't fully agree with that. I feel like if that's the only thing you do, then yeah, you are being self-indulgent, but you're not really creating this, you're not really writing sentences. You're not really trying to balance out your art in such a manner that it is also useful for communication. And that's why I find a lot of people don't create art that actually resonates. You always have the chance that like randomly the thing that you really like, other people also really like. But like, why wouldn't you consider the act of communication within your art? And it doesn't mean that you have to limit the integrity that you have within the art, but you can still optimize the communication part of it. I feel like that's where I'm concerned. I'm actually concerned with making the music speak for itself, so that what I try to convey with the music actually comes across. And I feel like everything else on top of that is just an extension. So when I present something on social media, it is because I acknowledge that, okay, the music has been made from the perspective of saying everything that it should be saying. That's what I tried, at least. Might fail, but that's what I tried. Then sometimes I want to add to that almost like world building by making videos, making visualizers, creating a website, curating it in such a way that it just evokes this emotion within you when you see it, whether that be something pleasant or unpleasant or nostalgic or might feel futuristic to you. How people interpret it, that's always going to be up to them in the end. But I feel like I just try to communicate this very, just this emotion. And then, often what I'm met with is that a lot of people come back to me and they say like, wow, I really felt something when you said that, or when I heard this, or when I saw that. And I think that's the goal.
Intimate gigs are always so fun. Like, it's just categorically, you usually have more of a fun gig, just because there's that extra connection there. Like the larger shows that you play, it can be quite strange. I played one recently in Denver, and I was genuinely like 10 meters away from the crowd. I was like a substantial difference away, like a distance, and I was very, very high up. I felt like I was DJing in my bedroom, which was nice, but I was so disconnected from the crowd, you know. So it was nice in one way where I felt very free. I didn't feel any stress at all being on that stage, but I was very disconnected from the purpose of what I was there to do, and I was there to entertain. I wanted to feel connected to what was going on. Whereas the more intimate shows, there's this club called Hidden in Manchester. It's my favourite place to play. I play behind like a single bit of cage, and it sort of tops off maybe like 2 meters high. I've stage dived over that thing and become part of the crowd. Like that there is unbelievable, because it's like you are one with the crowd. It's like people are trying to grab you. The energy is totally different. So I feel like with boutique festivals, that's the selling point, is it's so much more personal. Just go and say hi to people, become part of what's going on. It feels more personal. I just think it's more exciting. It's more laid back, you know? Because I've played, there's a festival in America called Lightning in a Bottle, and that's really big, but it does also feel genuine, because it's like a core aspect of what they do. So I think there is a crossover. But obviously when you think about corporate like Leeds Fest, Reading, and I feel like this isn't what that is. It's two totally separate things. But yeah, boutiques, very fun.
I feel like music is one of those things that is not necessarily meant to be monetized. So when you put yourself in a position where it's like, oh, I'm going to create this festival for XYZ reason, I think the promoters who consider what actually feels good and what actually feels entertaining usually create a festival that just feels better for everyone. And then when a festival might be more focused around, you know, just any sort of capitalistic endeavor, chances are that, you know, it just feels slightly too optimized. And optimized doesn't necessarily mean bad. It's just when I go to a festival, I crave like the randomness, the unruliness of it all. That you're in an environment where you normally would never go, that you meet people who you normally never see, that you encounter acts that normally would never get the chance to stand there, that you have food that you would normally never have, you know? I feel like the more optimized a festival becomes, the more it becomes like what every other festival also might want to try to do, you know? And that's where it just becomes a little, especially like, you know, we're artists. So of course we see festivals constantly. And then all the ones where we feel like, whoa, this is where people genuinely try to do something that, you know, might be different or might be catering towards what the people's needs actually are, because they're actually listening. Or, you know, for instance, I really like Paleo Festival in Switzerland, because like, when I went there, I felt like, yeah, I can feel that the majority of the festival is ran by volunteers. Like I think the number was like 1.2 thousand of them, and they were all local volunteers who were just parents and citizens from that area who are like, yeah, well, we see the value of what bringing the culture to this place is. We're just invested as the people who want to go to the festival. Love that. I felt it every step of the way. So yeah, I feel like the more the festival's optimized, the more the ball might be dropped in areas where it's actually needed. But
well, yeah,
might just not be a lot of language or priority for that, or reasoning as to why you shouldn't drop those balls, you know?
Definitely.
But life is more about more things than the things we understand.
I feel like a good example is Coachella or Glastonbury. Take the humans away from Coachella, it's just a polo field with brand activations and some stages. None of the stages are spectacular. They're big, sure, but they're not spectacular. They're not unique in any way, shape or form. Yeah. Take the people away, it's just a polo field, right? Let's say Glastonbury, take the people away, it's still amazing. You've got big art installations, you've got a cool area. There's just so much more put into the immersiveness of that. So I feel like, yeah, there's definitely a big difference there for sure. Yeah.
There's also a big difference where the festival is and what kind of people it attracts. It could be for very, very, very different reasons.
You can
As
use
to-
those two as an example of literally for that, isn't it?
Yeah. Also, like that's why this argument came to mind because of your example. But I feel like once all of the branding comes together, once all of the endeavors from all the locals who are trying to put up this festival come together, it attracts a certain crowds, like whether it was intentional or not. And sometimes, you know, a festival might have tried to optimize their festival in certain aspects, and therefore it attracts a certain type of crowd. From their perspective, that might be like, I really want to make this festival successful, but that also attracts a certain crowd. And sometimes I just notice that with certain music, with certain endeavors, it attracts a crowd that is just there for the idea of the festival, but not actually for the festival. It's people who are like, they're thinking about what they want to do at the festival, and they're constantly like hopping to the next thing, but they're not actually observing what the festival is about. They're like either drunk or talking with their friends or just on their phone, like walking around and then filming and then going to the next stage and then filming there, you know? Not to say that there's not necessarily something wrong there, but what I think is enjoyable about a festival for me is when I do get to observe, like actually observe what is happening around me, not just visually, but also sonically, of course. And, you know, yeah. I just...
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just kind of let down when I see like loads of groups of people just just in their head about what they're gonna do, as opposed to like actually being at the festival. Yeah.
Agreed.
So it'd be nice to hear just a track that you listen to when nobody is watching. It could be any genre you wish. Just
Jerry Folk, Red Needle, Red something. I'm gonna get it.
get out.
Oh my god, it's so good.
I'm actually gonna give this a good little think.
Or a bit of Robbie Williams.
Who's that? Never
You-
heard of him.
No.
Was that the
I love Robbie Williams, man. Oh yeah, that's it. Sorry, Jerry Folk, Dotted Red. Unreal. It's an album, but the song called Dotted Red. It's so good. That's what I listen to.
What makes it like a guilty pleasure when nobody's watching? Is there anything in particular about it?
Well, if it's guilty pleasure, nah, it's straight up just like Kylie Minogue. Or Robbie Williams. I love Robbie Williams or Kylie, stuff like that. Yeah, that's not guilty, but that's just a banger that I love to listen to be fair. It's just such a weird song. I definitely listen to it. But yeah, guilty pleasure, Kylie Minogue or
It's always interesting.
Robbie Williams.
Yeah, Madonna or Kylie or...
I've been listening to a lot of Arca.
Oh yeah, but that's not guilty pleasure. Oh, Arca's sick. Seen you dance.
Well, you're just not paying attention then.
I don't think I've ever seen you move, like dancing wise.
Okay.
We dance later.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, sick.
Are you asking me for a dance?
Yeah, fuck yeah, I would love to see you dance.
We'll have a dance off.
Well,
Yeah.
what's that dance? Was it breakdance?
No, I did experimental hip hop.
Yeah,
Like
well,
a lot
later
of-
on then.
Yeah, okay, that's good. That's good.